Some teachers don't just fail at teaching. Some literally leave scars you'll never forget. These are the teachers that make school even harder for students. Let's take a look at them. Growing up, I always thought when you get to middle school or high school, you would start getting dress codes. But as a high schooler now, I realized you can actually wear anything you want. But this teacher has this really strange dress codes for his students.
A teacher is currently going viral on social media after he made his students follow a very interesting dress code. Quickly, I would just like to say that the person in the video in the beginning is not involved in this situation in any way, shape, or form. That's just a random video I put in the background. But here is this teacher's dress code for the SATs. So starting off with the first one, no bras.
This has to be a joke or something, because what? That's so scary and weird.
Okay, so you can't wear any bras, and then everything else you just cannot wear. So you can't wear sweatpants either. The teacher also said that you cannot wear slides or Crocs.
Not wearing slides or Crocs is reasonable for gym class. You have to wear some sort of sporty shoes, so that way you won't trip and fall easily. But Crocs are kind of acceptable because you can put them on sports mode.
And then at the bottom it says, please dress properly as the gym is cold. Yeah, this is definitely weird.
Well, if the gym is cold, then it doesn't help that you can't wear sweatpants. So he expects kids to wear shorts and leggings to a gym class that cold. If I was in that class, I would not follow the rules. In fact, I would report the teacher to the office.
Now, after seeing this post on social media, a lot of people started to freak out and are trying to find out who this teacher is that made this dress code right here, because, it says at the bottom, they're going to be in the gym taking the SATs, and it's going to be very cold, and then the teacher proceeds to say you can't wear a bra. Yeah, that is definitely weird, but I don't think this is real. Now, the reason why I believe that this is not real is because I turned up my brightness, and I just realized it literally looks edited. If you look at the top right, it just looks like all this was colored in. On the student's hair, there's blue on his hair, so a student likely made this edit. Hopefully this wasn't spread around the school and potentially maybe this teacher got in trouble. Hopefully that didn't happen, but I believe that this SAT dress code is fake. What do you think about all this?
Oh, thanks God it's fake. I didn't realize that editing was there until he pointed it out. I'm so glad that it was fake. I would feel so bad for the students. What would you do if it was real and you had that gym class? Comment down below. Have you ever gotten into an argument with your teacher and you make them mad, so mad that they end up putting their hands on you? Well, that's most likely never happened to you. But that's what happened to this student. Some teachers are just very crazy and mentally crazy.
This is the creepy story about the insane teacher. A history teacher in China was accused of killing one of his students. The victim was an 11-year-old girl named Zhang. The teacher flew into a rage and slammed her face on the desk. Then he stomped on her head and kicked her, punched her, and beat her with the metal bar until she was unconscious. The teacher then calmly told his class that he was going to take the young girl to the nurse's office. Then out of nowhere, he lifted her limp, motionless body off the floor. As the other students watched in horror, he tossed the young girl out the window.
Wait, what? That just caught me off guard. Oh my God, I wonder what this girl did to the teacher that made him so mad.
The classroom was on the 4th floor and the girl fell to her death, landing on the pavement below. Her stunned classmates ran out of the room screaming and crying. Classes were then suspended for weeks. The teacher was arrested and he was found to be mentally ill. For this reason, he escaped the death penalty and was put in a mental asylum.
I did some digging on this case to see if it was true or not. And I found some stories on it. The teacher was allegedly a 28-year-old man in number 12 middle school. The internet doesn't say that student did anything to him, so she was probably busy doing her classwork, or maybe not. Or maybe she was just talking to one of her friends and he suddenly started to attack her. He was convicted of murder, but he was exempted from criminal punishment. The reason for him to not have punishment is because he was having a schizophrenic episode, and therefore, according to the medical legal evaluation, lacked the ability to judge or control his behavior. The victim's family did receive monetary compensation from the school. A lot of people were mad and angry by the decision that he didn't go to prison for ending a student in such a brutal way. I don't really know how schizophrenia works, but if he had past episodes of schizophrenia, then I don't think should have been a teacher in the first place. He should have been on treatment and recovering this whole time. This next story is very scary.
Did you know a 25-year-old teacher went to confession and the priest who heard her confession abused and unalived her? Then the Catholic Church covered it up for 57 years. Her name was Irene Garza, a beautiful school teacher and former beauty queen from McAllen, Texas. On April 16, 1960, the night before Easter, Irene drove to Sacred Heart Catholic Church for confession. She never came home. 5 days later, her body was found floating in an irrigation canal. The autopsy revealed she had been beaten, abused while unconscious, and suffocated. The prime suspect was Father John Feet, the 27-year-old priest who heard her last confession. Instead of hearing her confession in the confessional booth, Feet had taken her to the church rectory. There, he attacked her, gagged her with a cellophane bag, and drowned her in the bathtub. But here's the most disgusting part. Church officials and local police made a secret deal to protect Feet. Rather than face charges, the Catholic Church quietly transferred him to a monastery in Missouri. In 1963, Feet confessed to a fellow monk that he had unalived a young woman in a bathtub with a cellophane bag. The monk kept the secret for 40 years. Meanwhile, Feet left the priesthood, got married, had children, and lived freely in Arizona. Irene's family spent decades fighting for justice, knowing the church was protecting their daughter's killer. Feet wasn't arrested until 2016. He was 83 years old and used a walker in court. He was finally convicted in 2017 and sentenced to life in prison. He passed away behind bars in 2020, having stolen 60 years of life from a woman whose only crime was wanting to confess her sins. Write your country, and I'll make a video from there.
That's so scary. That wasn't even about bad teachers. But this next one is worse.
It happened in Indonesia. A group of college students, a night class. The lecture started like any other. A woman entered. She looked like a teacher, calm, composed, wearing a long batik skirt. She spoke clearly, wrote on the board, taught for over an hour. No one questioned it. Until after class, someone asked the school who the guest lecturer was, but the school said no one was scheduled, no one had come. The students laughed at first, but one had recorded the class, just for fun. They watched the video together and noticed something wrong. The woman's feet weren't touching the floor. She was floating, just slightly, a few inches above the ground. No footsteps, no sound, just a low hum on the audio. Some said it was fake, low resolution, bad lighting, a trick of perspective, but others believed. They named her the floating teacher. The video spread. People still argue about it online. Was she real? A ghost? A warning? No one knows. The video was deleted, or hidden, or lost. But some students still remember her calm voice, her silent steps, and how she smiled.
Oh my God, imagine just going to school like normal. And a new teacher walks in, expects she's a ghost, and you don't know that. It's scarier that this video is based off a true story. But anyways, this is the end. If you made it this far, comment creepy teacher in the comments. I will like every single one. Bye.